Let's get right into it. Number 10. Mind-controlled machines. Forget keyboards and touchscreens. People are controlling machines with pure thought right now. Scientists have created something called brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs for short. These devices can read your brain signals and turn them into commands for machines. It's like having telekinesis, except it actually works. We're talking about controlling individual robot fingers with enough precision to type on a keyboard, or picking up an egg without crushing it. This tech is giving paralyzed people their independence back. There's a woman who can feed herself using a robotic arm controlled by her mind. She hadn't been able to eat by herself for years. Now she can pick up a fork and bring food to her mouth just by thinking about it. The military is already testing this tech for controlling drone swarms. Picture a pilot sitting in a room, commanding dozens of drones with nothing but brainwaves. No joysticks, no keyboards, just pure mental commands while the enemy is still figuring out what hit them. Scientists are working on ways to make this technology completely non-invasive. That means no surgery, no brain implants, just slap on a special headband and boom, you're Professor X. Your mind is literally becoming the ultimate remote control. Number 9. Rockets that land themselves. Watch a 15-story building fall from the sky, but instead of crashing, it gently touches down like a feather. That's exactly what's happening right now with modern rockets. These massive machines blast off into space, and then instead of becoming space junk, they come back home. It's like throwing a dart backwards over your shoulder and hitting a bullseye every single time. The rocket literally falls backwards through the sky, fires its engines at just the right moment, and lands itself on a tiny platform. Sometimes this platform is floating in the middle of the ocean. Imagine threading a needle while skydiving. Except the needle is moving and you're the size of an apartment building. And this isn't some one-off experiment or a lucky accident. They're doing this regularly now, sometimes multiple times per month. When these rockets dump extra fuel during flight, they create these massive glowing spirals in the sky. People call them space jellyfish, because that's exactly what they look like. A giant glowing jellyfish made of rocket fuel dancing across the night sky. Just a few years ago, if you told someone rockets would be landing themselves like this, they'd think you were watching too much Star Trek. Now it's so normal that watching a giant rocket land itself is just another Tuesday. Number 8. Bringing back the woolly mammoth. Right now, scientists are literally resurrecting a species that's been dead for thousands of years. A real, breathing, walking woolly mammoth. Scientists are working on this right now. Using a tool called CRISPR, they're taking DNA from frozen mammoths and mixing it with Asian elephant DNA. The end result won't be exactly like the mammoths from thousands of years ago. Think of it as Mammoth, the remix. It'll have the thick fur, the fat layers, and all the cold weather upgrades of the original. But they're not just doing this because it would be cool to have a mammoth. These scientists think bringing back mammoths could actually help fight climate change. When they walk around, they squish down snow and knock over trees. This helps create grasslands, which reflect more sunlight than forests. So basically, we're building an army of hairy bulldozers to save the planet. The first mammoth-elephant hybrid could be stomping around within this decade. You could literally take a selfie with a species that went extinct thousands of years ago. And unlike Jurassic Park, these mammoths won't try to eat you. They're vegetarians. Though standing next to one might still make you rethink your life choices, they're basically furry tanks with tusks. Number 7. Real-life invisibility cloaks. Harry Potter's invisibility cloak? It's sitting in labs right now, minus the magic. They're called metamaterials, and they're absolutely insane. These aren't your typical fabrics. They're made of tiny structures smaller than the wavelength of light itself. Think of them like thousands of microscopic bouncers, telling light waves, "You can't come in here." When light hits these materials, instead of bouncing off like normal, it bends around them like water flowing around a rock. Scientists have already made this work with sheets of carbon nanotubes. These super thin sheets create a temperature difference that makes light bend away, literally making objects vanish. They've also made tiny rings of gold that can bend light around whatever's inside them. But this tech doesn't just work with visible light. Scientists are using the same principles to hide things from radar and even sound waves. Picture military vehicles that are completely undetectable, or stealth ships that can slip through enemy waters like ghosts. The military is already testing this stuff, and they're throwing stupid amounts of money at it. We're living in a time where Harry Potter's invisibility cloak isn't just fantasy anymore. It's actual physics that you can touch and test in a lab. Number 6. The rise of humanoid robots. These machines are doing backflips right now. Not in movies, in warehouses and labs across the world. Forget those old robots that walked like they desperately needed a bathroom. Modern humanoid robots are pulling off moves that would make Olympic gymnasts jealous. We're talking about machines that can sprint, leap over obstacles, and perform parkour stunts. These robots use something called predictive control systems. They can think ahead about where they're going to land before they jump, and they learn from their environment in real time. That means if you throw an unexpected obstacle in their path, they'll figure out how to deal with it on the spot. They've got sensors all over their bodies, basically giving them superhuman awareness. This lets them feel and see everything around them at once. Picture being chased by one of these things. You run into your house, slam the door, and breathe a sigh of relief until you see it parkouring up the side of your building like Spider-Man's evil twin. Companies are already working on putting these agile machines to work in places too dangerous for humans. Imagine sending one of these parkour robots into a burning building to rescue someone, or having them explore disaster zones where human rescuers would become victims themselves. Every few months, these robots are learning new tricks that make the previous versions look like wind-up toys. Number 5. AI that creates from nothing. Tell a computer, I want a photo of an astronaut riding a horse on Mars. Boom. Seconds later, you're looking at exactly that. This isn't some far future tech. It's happening right now. These AIs can create literally anything you can dream up. Want a song that sounds like Beatles meets death metal? Done. Need a painting in the style of Van Gogh but featuring your cat? Easy. Looking for code to build an app? The AI will write it faster than you can describe it. And it's not just stitching together existing stuff. It's creating completely new things that have never existed before. It's like giving a computer an imagination and some really good drugs. These AIs are getting so good that experts often can't tell if something was made by a human or machine. There are AI-generated songs hitting millions of views on streaming platforms. AI art is selling for thousands of dollars at auctions. Soon, these AIs will be able to create entire movies from a simple description, design whole video games from a few sentences, write best-selling novels in the time it takes you to make coffee. We literally taught computers how to dream. Number 4. Building a star on Earth. Scientists just created an actual star in a laboratory, the same nuclear fusion that powers our sun. Not a fake star, not a light show, but the real deal. They did this by firing 192 of the world's most powerful lasers at a target smaller than a pea. These lasers hit this tiny target with more power than the entire planet uses in a single instant. For a fraction of a second, that tiny pellet becomes the hottest spot in our entire solar system. The pressure inside is more intense than being at the bottom of an ocean made of lead. This makes atoms do something crazy. They start to smash together and fuse, and they manage to get more energy out of this reaction than they put in. It's like lighting a match and getting back a flamethrower. If we can scale this up, we're looking at unlimited clean energy forever. The fuel for this comes from seawater. You could power a city for a year with the amount of fuel that fits in a coffee cup. And unlike regular nuclear power, there's no dangerous waste. The only byproduct is helium, the same stuff that makes balloons float. Scientists are doing this right now, creating tiny stars that burn brighter than our sun. They're literally playing with starfire in a lab in California. Number 3. Programmable Matter. Hold a blob of liquid metal in your hand. With one command, it transforms into any tool you need. With just a digital command, this blob starts to move and reshape itself. It flows like water, but can instantly harden into any shape you want. Need a wrench? The metal flows and hardens into a perfect tool. Phone died? Watch as it morphs into a backup device. Lost your keys? It transforms into a spare right in your pocket. This isn't some CGI trick from a movie. This is programmable matter. And it's real. Scientists call it claytronics. And it works using millions of microscopic robots called K-toms. These tiny robots work together like a swarm of genius ants, coordinating their movements perfectly. They're also playing with actual liquid metal. They're using gallium, a metal that melts near room temperature, and mixing it with magnetic particles. When they hit it with magnetic fields, this stuff moves and shapes itself like the T-1000's friendly cousin. In one experiment, they made this liquid metal flow through a maze, splitting apart and rejoining on the other side, exactly like that scene from Terminator 2. Your phone could morph into a gaming controller, then into a keyboard, then back to a phone. It's basically having the ultimate transformer that fits in your pocket. Number 2. Editing the code of life. Scientists can now cut and paste DNA like you're editing a Word document. Welcome to playing God. That's exactly what scientists can do now with something called CRISPR. Think of it like having the cheat codes to life itself. This isn't some far-off sci-fi dream. It's happening right now in labs across the world. CRISPR works like a pair of molecular scissors guided by a GPS system. The scissors part is a protein called Cas9 that can slice through DNA with surgical precision. The GPS is a piece of RNA that tells those scissors exactly where to cut. Once they make the cut, scientists can add, remove, or change any genes they want. It's like having Control-Z for genetic diseases. Got a faulty gene causing cystic fibrosis? Delete, replace, fixed. Doctors are already using this to cure people with sickle cell disease. These are people who were told they'd suffer their whole lives. Now they're walking out of hospitals completely cured. But we're not just fixing diseases. Scientists are creating super crops that laugh at droughts and floods, corn that tells pests to buzz off, or tomatoes that thrive in the desert. We're talking about having the power to rewrite evolution's homework. Some researchers are even working on bringing extinct species back to life. We've basically found the console commands for reality. For the first time in history, we're not just observing nature, we're becoming the developers. Number 1. Living programmable robots. We're not building robots anymore. We're growing them from living cells. These aren't some far-future tech. Scientists have already created them. They're called xenobots, and they're basically living, programmable machines made from frog cells. We're talking about actual living machines here. These little guys can move around, work together in swarms, and even heal themselves if they get damaged. Cut one in half and it just shrugs it off and keeps going. But here's where it gets wild. They can actually reproduce. These living machines gather loose cells from their environment and build new xenobots all by themselves. It's like watching biology's version of a 3D printer that runs on its own. Scientists can program these living machines by designing their shapes using AI. Want it to carry tiny cargo? Make it bowl-shaped. Need it to swim fast? Give it a streamlined body. These things could one day swim through your bloodstream, delivering medicine exactly where it needs to go. Or imagine releasing a swarm of them into an oil spill and watching them devour the pollution. We're not just blurring the line between machines and living things anymore. We're completely erasing it. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.